Ladies and gentlemen, Violet Games here. Today I'm going to be talking about 3v3, the new game mode in Overwatch, or the newer game mode in Overwatch. It's been out for a while, but I want to talk about it just to do a little impressions, just in case if you were curious about my thoughts. So the way I'm going to be doing this video is first I'm going to talk about 3v3 as a game mode, then I'm going to be talking about the top heroes or the most picked heroes, and also go into compositions and maybe talk about what heroes I want to see in 3v3. Then I'm going to be talking about how I think the game mode could be a bit better. And then I'm going to finally, just summarize how I feel about everything as a whole, just kind of give you my final thoughts. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Let's jump right into it. I've never understood that expression. I don't know why. I'm already off on a side tangent while I'm a professional. Someone explain to me where that came from, that analogy. Just jump right into it. I don't know. Pool parties? Fuck if I know. Wow. I'm so good at YouTube. Anyways, let's talk about 3v3 as a game mode. So what is 3v3? 3v3 is essentially a 3 versus 3 team deathmatch where there are no health kits and no respawns. The way that each round is played out is that there are basically 3 to 5 rounds per game. So for example, if one team wins 2 times and then another team wins 2 times, they could have a 5th and final round to determine who's the best of the or the luckiest. I don't know how it can work out anyway, or who picked the better comp. Literally any of these things can happen. It can be zany and fun. But most of the time it's not, and I'll have to explain that later. The game mode itself takes place in a small Arctic map. So there's not a lot to really say about the map itself. There's not really anything special about it other than the fact that it's really small and really Arctic. There's a lot of blue and white in it. Literally, there's nothing to say about the map itself. It's kind of meh. The objective, if you don't understand what team deathmatch means, in case if you're new to life, basically kill them bitches. Whoever has teammates standing on the last or at the end of the round wins the round, of course. So, how do I feel about this game mode being added into Overwatch as a whole? I think it's actually a very, very big positive step in the right direction for Blizzard. And not for Blizzard, but for Overwatch in general. And why is this? I think the biggest flaw in Overwatch, like from my professional critic standpoint, right? The biggest flaw in Overwatch by far is the lack of variety in game modes. Overwatch itself, in my opinion, can sustain its existence solely based on the fact that the variety of heroes and team compositions is so diverse and interesting that it makes the game a very, very compelling experience. And not only that, but the variety in player skill and the variety in the team compositions themselves. So how each character can kind of play within each other, how certain heroes counter others, like that sort of alchemic fucking mixture of awesomeness is what makes Overwatch a great game, in my honest opinion. The game modes have nothing to do with it. The game modes are very simple, and let's be honest, there's only really 2 of these game modes that exist. There's Capture the Point, which is basically King of the Hill, and then there's Push the Payload, which is some game mode that I do not know the name of. I think it came from TF2. Maybe there's an official name of that game mode, but it's not anything new under the sun. And the game modes themselves are not very compelling overall. The strength of Overwatch comes exclusively from the charm and variety of skills and variety of abilities between the heroes, and also the variety of player skill and the overall just level of skill growth within the game, the internal progression. And what do I mean by internal progression, by the way? Just to cover that real quick. In Overwatch, you really only get cosmetics as you play the game. That's the only superficial progression that you get in the game. You get rank ups, which don't mean anything, but you also get loot boxes, which give you cosmetics. You don't unlock any new guns or new characters. All of the things are basically unlocked from day 1. But the progression, in my honest opinion, in Overwatch that people don't notice is the fact that you get better at the game and you get better at certain characters, and therefore you get attached to those characters. That's where Overwatch shines. It has nothing to do with the game modes. So the fact that they're adding a new game mode for us to play these heroes in is a very good thing. I think that if they add more game modes and capitalize on that a bit more, it's going to make the game even more diverse and add more replay to the game as a whole. So now that I've kind of given you my basic thoughts on what 3v3 is, how do I feel about it from the basis of planes, let's talk about the top heroes. Who do I see most often in 3v3? What's the meta, as the youngins like to say? Basically, Soldier 76 and Roadhog is the 3v3 meta, and let's briefly explain why. Soldier 76, great damage across 35 meters, I believe. That basically covers all fights you're going to get into in a 3v3 round. Basically, Soldier 76 is going to do really good damage across the board. In 3v3, there's never going to be a situation where Soldier 76 is not doing good damage. So that's definitely his biggest selling point. Also, because there are no health kits in 3v3, Soldier having a self-sustaining heal that can potentially heal allies as well if they're sitting within the cone of it, makes him a very, very effective pick. So you got some of the best DPS in the game with one of the easiest to use weapons in the game that covers one of the biggest variety of ranges in the game, especially for the game mode itself. It's like the map was made for Soldier to do good shit. It's redonk. It's redonkadonk. Now, talking about Roadhog, why do I see a lot of Roadhog? Because one, you're getting a very, very high DPS at close range hero with a large health pool. Also, having the same strength that Soldier has in regards to a self-sustaining heal. That is very, very effective in 3v3. Again, no health kits. So you have high DPS, but the selling point on Roadhog by far is his hook. His hook can hook one of the enemy teammates and cause them to instantly die, which in a game where killing one person means you're killing a third of their team permanently in that round is a big fucking deal. So no surprise why we see Roadhog, and also pulling him or the enemy teammate out of their comfort zone is also very effective as well, even if it doesn't manage to snag the kill. It'll most likely lead to someone dying. So those are the reasons why Soldier 76 and Roadhog are by far the biggest picks. Now, let me talk about some other picks that I both see and want to see. One character that I see a lot, who's probably the third most picked hero, in my experience anyways, but he's not a staple, is Zenyatta. Zenyatta, because he can heal his teammates, do reliable damage, and also add a Discord orb to a single target at any given time, that's a lot of ways to help the team. You're helping the team do more damage, you're healing one of the teammates during any fight, and you also have a large pool of health that is shields, so you can actually sponge up some damage, then go back into cover, recharge, rinse and repeat. And if you have Soldier 76 with you, he can kind of top off your health as well if you're relatively close by. And again, just damage. The fact that he has a pretty easy to use projectile is also very, very cool. Another character I want to see more, or actually a good team composition of characters that I want to see more, is Lucio and Tracer. I feel like Lucio and Tracer are very underplayed in 3v3. I think a high skill Tracer and a decent Lucio can really go to town on people, because Lucio providing that AoE heal can make Tracer almost invincible, strictly due to the fact that she doesn't take a large amounts of damage all of the time, and if she jukes around enough, that chip damage isn't going to get her killed exclusively because of the fact that Lucio's AoE heal doesn't necessarily, what I'm trying to say is that Lucio doesn't really have to prioritize healing Tracer for Tracer to be healed, and the AoE heal can heal the other teammate if they're in on the fight as well. So I think Tracer and Lucio are very underplayed. I wish I saw more of them. I played one round where it worked out very well. They weren't prepared to deal with it. But the problem with them being picked is, again, Roadhog, really. Because if Roadhog hooks either Lucio or Tracer, it's basically GG. You've just lost a third of your team. It's GG. So that, again, Roadhog just being ridiculous. And you also sacrifice your soldier slot because you kind of want to tank in 3v3 as well. So that's why I don't see that comp that much. I wish I would see more of it, but the game mode really encourages the use of self-sustaining heroes. Another composition that I'm surprised I haven't seen more of is Mercy and Pharah. They've been a staple with each other since the game pretty much came out. I'm surprised I haven't seen a lot of Pharah's, but at the same time, I'm not really, because let's be honest, Soldier 76 kind of shits on her. And unless Pharah's going to be very, very like high skill and always land direct hits, it's not going to be very effective. And the fact that there are some indoor points on this map, it really discourages the use of Mercy and Pharah as a whole. I'm kind of wondering why they went with that, but they did. Like, Roadhog can literally just be a bitch and hide in the staircase and wait for Pharah to either come inside or go down that staircase so that he can just hook her and kill her. It's just massively discouraged, I guess, to play Mercy and Pharah. I wish, again, these are characters I kind of wish I saw more, but can be potentially effective depending on the enemy's team comp. One character I also see a lot more of in 3v3 is actually D.Va. I think D.Va comes up strictly because she can potentially deal with Soldier 76's damage. She can actually kind of negate a lot of damage, and if the team pushes with her, they can actually capitalize on the fact that she's sponging the damage so that they can move in and get the kill. So I've seen her do some work in this game mode in particular. That's really all I have to say as far as... Oh, one more character. Reinhardt. Reinhardt is also pretty damn good if he is supported by a healer. The fact that he has no self-sustain is a bit crippling. Same for D.Va, really. Like, if they don't have healers, it's kind of hard for them to exist in this game mode because of soldier damage and Roadhog damage. Like, literally, those are the biggest problems with those team compositions. But Reinhardt can land an instant pin, which does massive damage and can potentially kill a third of their team if he lands it properly. Given that there are some linear hallways within this map, you can really capitalize on that if you're a good Reinhardt. And also, he does pretty good damage in general with his both sweeping a projectile and his hammer. It's very reliable. It's not super hard to use, but then again, I feel like he's outclassed by Soldier and Roadhog. That's the only problem. If he doesn't pin Soldier, the round could go on forever. So, those are my character compositions for the 3v3 mode. Those are what I think who work the best. Those are my thoughts anyways. Basically, all other characters are discouraged. So how do I feel the game mode could be better? Basically, the only thing that I think could make the game mode better is they need to find a way to encourage other characters to be played other than Roadhog and Soldier. Biggest problem is that, like I said before, the strength of Overwatch is not teams, but the character variety and the team composition variety. So I guess, yeah, team comps. I don't know why I retracted that statement and then said it again, but yeah, there you go. But yeah, it's like, it gets boring and old when you're forced to play the same two characters over and over again ad nauseum. I enjoy 3v3 as an additional game mode to the game, but it's not fun when you start winning with a cool composition and then the enemy team just switches to Roadhog and fucking Soldier 76. They're the meta. And likewise, when you start to lose, oh well, better pull out the meta. Like, it's just kind of boring. It's definitely the biggest downside to the game mode itself, but the only real improvement that I can recommend, because adding health kits could potentially cause a problem, and her name is Sombra. Like, I can't blame Blizzard for not adding health kits into the game. I thought about it for a while. I thought it might encourage the use of other characters and other comps, and it would, but it would also cause some cheesy shit, like I said, Sombra. Like, you could literally sit on top of a health kit and just get siphoned health over and over again, which could be unfair. But I feel like they could balance it. Like, for example, only add light kits. There you go. Sombra is very viable, but at the same time, the enemy can't keep feeding off of the single health kit. Well, they could potentially to an extent, but I feel like if two of the enemy team like ganged up on that person, they would die. And they could also play around that with another Sombra. So I don't see how adding light health kits couldn't benefit the game mode. Actually, I kind of came to a revelation in this audio. It's funny. But yeah, so lack of map variety and no health kits in the mode does cripple it, in my opinion. It kind of puts it to Soldier and Roadhog. I think that's lame. So, what did I take from this? I think Overwatch needs more game modes. I think that would be the most salient improvement as a whole. And overall, I think this was a positive experience. I did enjoy 3v3. I recommend you play it. But it does get old. That's the only problem. Because of the fact that Soldier and Roadhog are such a staple, it makes the game mode very stale very quickly. And I think you'll know what I mean if you've played around with it enough. You'll probably understand why that gets annoying. Though, if a really high-skill players go in as different heroes and beat those people, I think that would be very entertaining to watch. So there's still some entertainment value that I find in 3v3. But I can't capitalize on that because I'm not like super MLG or anything. So those are just my thoughts on 3v3, guys. Thank you for watching if you did. Quote of the day. Guys, be yourselves because everyone else is already taken. This is Violent Games pissing off.